48.2 degrees Celsius.
That is not just a high number on a weather report. That is the actual surface temperature right now.
At this exact temperature, the human body crosses its safety limit. Our cells physically begin to struggle.
Our schools are shutting down early. Farmers are forced to work at night just to survive.
The air is completely dry. There is zero humidity to absorb the energy. The entire atmosphere has turned into an open furnace.
This isn't just a regular summer anymore.
It's a literal geographical trap.
And yet, we treat it like a normal vacation.
Today, we need to talk about why the Indian subcontinent is boiling.
Let's start with the absolute basics. Why does any place on Earth get hot? It comes down to a few basic factors: your location on the planet, how high you are above sea level, how far you are from the ocean, and how the winds move.
From a physics standpoint, it is all about solar radiation. The Earth sits at a tilted angle of 23.5 degrees. As it orbits the Sun, the spot that receives direct vertical sunlight changes throughout the year. By May and June, the spotlight is directly over northern and central India. The sun's rays cut straight down through the atmosphere with no tilt, pouring massive amounts of raw energy, roughly 1000 watts per square meter, directly onto our soil.
If you look at a globe, the Tropic of Cancer cuts right through the middle of India. If you follow that same line across the world, it passes through the massive Sahara Desert in North Africa and the dry deserts of the Middle East. So naturally, this entire belt is geographically meant to be hot. But India has a highly unique geographical problem that makes its summer much worse than the Sahara. We live in a giant thermal trap. Look at our northern border. The Himalayas stand as a massive, unbroken wall of rock and ice, averaging over 6,000 meters high. In the winter and early spring, cold Arctic winds blow from Siberia across Central Asia. But the Himalayas act as a permanent shield. They completely block that cold air from entering India. Because of this, our baseline temperature starts at a much higher level the moment spring hits.
And right behind that mountain wall sits the Tibetan Plateau, a massive chunk of elevated rock spanning 2.5 million square kilometers. During April and May, this high-altitude rock surface acts as an immense solar radiator, absorbing an unbelievable amount of solar heat. As the air drops from an altitude of 4 kilometers down to the low plains of Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, and Punjab, something dangerous happens, called adiabatic compression. As the air sinks lower into the zones of higher atmospheric pressure, the air molecules are mechanically packed closer together. Doing mechanical work on a gas increases its kinetic energy, which causes its temperature to spike by nearly 10 degrees Celsius for every single kilometer it descends. This brings us to a phenomena we all know too well, the loo. Because the land is landlocked and far away from the cooling effect of the oceans, a massive thermal low-pressure zone forms over the Thar Desert and Pakistan. This acts like a giant vacuum, drawing in ultra-dry, superheated winds from the desert of Balochistan, which means we lose the cooling power of water's incredibly high latent heat of vaporization. 100% of the sun's energy goes into directly baking the air and the land.
The problem is that we have heavily modified our geography with our own hands. Look at our cities. In recent decades, we have cleared our forest, paved our wetlands, and built massive concrete jungles. This has created what scientists call urban heat islands.
It's a simple matter of material science. Natural soil and trees reflect heat or use moisture to cool the environment. Concrete and dark asphalt do the exact opposite. They have a very low albedo, meaning they absorb up to 90% of the sun's energy, storing it like a giant battery. During the day, the city bakes. At night, when rural areas are cooling down, our concrete buildings slowly radiate all the trapped heat back into the streets.
This has created a terrible modern crisis. Warm nights, according to a brand new June 2026 report by the Center for Science and Environment, cities like Delhi are completely losing their capacity to cool down at night. Nights are no longer providing relief. Millions of people living in overcrowded urban areas without air conditioning are trapped in a continuous 24-hour cycle of heat.
So, what does this constant intense heat actually do to a living being? The human body is a finely tuned machine that needs to maintain an internal temperature of around 37 degrees Celsius. If the humidity rises even slightly, sweat stops evaporating. When the body can no longer dump its internal heat, our core temperature rises. This leads to heat exhaustion and eventually heat stroke. At this point, internal organs begin to experience severe stress, cells break down, and major systems like the kidneys and heart can fail. A shocking study points out that a single extreme heat day in India can cause thousands of silent excess deaths nationwide that are never officially recorded as heat stroke, but rather as sudden heart or respiratory failures. It is not just humans. Look around our campus and cities. Birds are literally dropping unconscious from the sky due to severe dehydration. Stray animals are suffering from acute toxicity, heat exhaustion, and a critical lack of clean water. Vegetation is wilting, and standing crops are drying up before they can even be harvested. Extreme heat threatens the biological survival of every living organisms on the subcontinent.
Now let's address the elephant in the room. But global warming is the fuel that is supercharging the entire system. The burning of fossil fuels, coal, and gas has raised global baseline temperatures. The World Meteorological Organization just released a stark report warning that there is a 91% chance that one of the next 5 years will break all historical records as the hottest year ever measured.
Yet, despite all this scientific evidences, why is there such a massive blind spot in our national policy? Its casualties are silent, isolated, and usually belong to the most vulnerable sections of our society: the daily wage construction laborers, the gig workers, the street vendors who have no choice but to work under the blazing sun. A major study published just this week warns that a single day of extreme heat in India can trigger up to 3,400 excess deaths across the country.
The truth is, we cannot change the position of the Himalayas. We cannot stop the sun from shining directly over our heads in May. The physical geography of India is permanent.
But our human geography is something we can change. We cannot keep designing cities that act as concrete ovens. We need to completely rethink our architecture, use materials that reflect sunlight, and design public spaces that allow winds to flow and heat to escape. We must aggressively protect and restore our natural water bodies and wetlands. Bringing water back into our local environment is the only natural way to introduce cooling mechanism back into the air we breathe.
To stop waiting for the summer to pass, it is time for the government to officially recognize extreme heat as a notified national disaster, shifting our policies from temporary advisories to long-term structural changes. The geography of our summers is not going to change. So how we build, live, and protect each other within it must change right now.